In today's episode, we are going to be discussing work-life balance. Let's go. Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. My name is Donna. I am your host, and in today's episode, we are going to be talking work-life balance. This is something that a lot of people are striving for, and a lot of people talk about it, and it's kind of that elusive goal in everybody's head that they want to reach when it comes to work-life balance. A lot of people actually start working for themselves because they think that they're going to be able to achieve work-life balance doing that, and oftentimes they actually find that that is not the case. So I have seen an Instagram reel, TikTok trend going around probably for the last, well, I don't know how long it's been going around because I'm not up on all of that stuff, but I came across it and I thought, oh my gosh, that is so true. And it was somebody turning around saying, I didn't want to work the 9 to 5 anymore, so I started working for myself, and now I'm working 24/7. And I think that is the biggest issue with people jumping out of 9 to 5 jobs, coming into self-employment, thinking that they are going to be able to really choose their own hours and be really flexible, and it doesn't quite work out that way. Now, for us in the wedding industry, we're also timetabled by the wedding season, and that means that during the summer months it is likely that we are working very long days and working very hard for a majority of the week. And then in the autumn winter there is a little bit more space to breathe, less longer days, and we are able to manage our time a little better. So it is very difficult in our industry to create that work-life balance. However, one of the things that I find interesting to look at is how we actually use our time. And I have talked before about calendar blocking and productivity, and it's one of those things that you really have to be mindful of all the time, because it is so easy to slip back into old habits and going over the work day and working into the evening. And it is really difficult if you work from home, because your office is right there, the emails are right there, everything. And if you've got a phone, then it's your emails are popping up on your phone, and it is very hard to step away. And a couple of things have happened this week that made me stop and think that this is a topic that I wanted to bring to you guys, because I think it's really important, especially now with the ever growing issue of mental health, and with the stuff that we've all been through in the last couple of years and how that's actually impacted us. I want us to all be happy, healthy people who are enjoying our lives, not people that are feeling the slog of it all. And I think with our worry over increased pricing in the supermarkets, at the petrol stations, it is all sort of very heavy at the moment. And so if I can help us to sort of stop and think about what we're doing with our time and how we're managing that, and maybe opening up pockets where we can spend some downtime doing some really enjoyable things that we love, that bring us happiness, then I'm all for that. So that is what we're going to be looking at today. So one of the things that came up this week was that I got congratulated on my work ethic. Somebody asked me what I'd been doing at the weekend, and I had been cleaning my car on the Saturday, got terribly sunburnt, really not clever, but spent all day doing that, and then went to a friend's barbecue in the afternoon. And then on Sunday I filmed some videos and edited some videos and got a video up on YouTube. Now, is that what I usually do on my Sundays? No, I would say that I usually do that on Saturday. I usually kind of do video recording and things like that on the weekends, because I find it difficult to fit it in during the week. And so this person said, "Oh, I admire your work ethic." And it made me pause. It really did. And I thought, yeah, this is working. and it's the weekend and my family are downstairs without me. And that really sort of touched a nerve for me, because as much as I enjoy doing my videos, the point of the videos is to create a community and create some sort of passive income from it. So, therefore, it's a revenue stream in my business. So, to me, that should be reserved for work hours. However, not everything can fit into the work hours that I have. So, therein becomes the tug of war with what I should be and want to be doing versus what I need to be doing and what is appropriate at the time. So it is a balancing act. And heard from somebody once where they turned around and said, you will never achieve work-life balance because it's never going to sit on the scales in an even way. There are always going to be times where your family are going to need you, and you're going to have to step up and be with your family. And there are going to be other times where work needs you, and that's going to pull you away from your family. And it's the give and take more than the balance. And in the wedding industry in the summer, it's going to be work is going to be taking up a lot of the time, and the family are going to have to take a back seat. But then in the winter, it aligns and you can give more time the other way. And I think it's just important for us to remember where those give and takes are, because I think it is all too easy when we are in the thick of work to just go at it hell for leather and forget that we have other commitments, other responsibilities, other things that we should and could be doing, and go at it. And then in the times where actually work's a little lighter, we still find ourselves sat in front of our computers, kind of procrastinating, not really doing much, which is time that we could be spending with our families. Now, I understand that obviously if it's during the week, then your kids might be at school, your husband might be at work, your wife might be at work, so you won't necessarily have those people in the house. But how often does that translate into the evening when people come home and you go, yeah, I'm just going to go and check my emails, and then you fall down a rabbit hole, and it's not even necessarily that it's work, but it started with a work thing. I'm going to go and check my work emails just to make sure there's nothing there, and then you end up on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook, and you've fallen down a scroll hole, and 2 hours later your family hasn't seen you, you haven't been spending time with them, you haven't got any work done, and it's wasted time. So that is what we're kind of looking at here. And one of the things that people often say is work hard now to reap the rewards later. And that one, I think, is a little bit of a myth, depending on what it is that you're doing. If you are setting up a passive income stream, something that can work in the background and make you money, then yes, starting working harder will definitely lead to reaping the benefits later, because you will get more time back later on and you will be able to still be reaping the monetary rewards. However, in a day-to-day service-based business, if you work hard now and you're making money, that's great. But if you are not setting your finances up in a way that is, well, this is the standard what I want to be living off of, and everything else that I'm working hard at is just creating a big buffer for me for the lean times, then you've just got to keep that momentum up, because you working really hard, you taking on 52 weddings this year isn't going to reap you rewards next year. It's just going to, well, hopefully it will encourage more people to book and people will recommend you. So you will be getting lots of recommendations. So your marketing might become easier, but that is all your time, and you are going to have to maybe up your prices so that you can reduce the number of weddings that you're doing each year. And that is a very slow, incremental improvement in what you're doing. But that's going to take quite a while to get to the point where you have got the balance you want with doing the number of weddings you want to do at the price point that's going to give you the lifestyle that you want. And it could take 5 or more years for you to get to that situation. So I would remind you of an episode that I did where I spoke about different income streams and where to make money in the industry, how you can actually diversify your income portfolio so that you are not reliant so much on the mainstream, which is whatever the service is that you do. But by having other streams of income, that allows you that little bit of extra breathing space now, rather than having to wait and 5-10 years down the line where you have got to a point where maybe you only have to do 12 weddings a year and that gives you the income that you actually want. That's not everybody's dream. Some people just want to do lots of weddings, and that's absolutely fine. But it's just all about what you prioritize as important for you and your family and how that plays out in your everyday life. So working harder to reap the rewards later may be the case, but how many years do you want to dedicate to working harder before you can start reaping the rewards? Because if you are a family with children, your children are only young for a set amount of time, and you miss out so much when you are working so hard. And I would say that for me, I know that I missed out a lot on my daughter's childhood, but that was a financial thing for me. I didn't have the finances to be able to pull back a little bit. Now I do have that. I've got a fantastic partner who earns a decent wage and is able to bear more responsibility on the household bills so that I can take my time building my business and creating the income that I want from it without feeling like I have to go out and give up on this and go and get a job. I get that for some people it will be difficult. Some people haven't got that backup and have to make the money, and therefore you've got to do what you've got to do. But if you can work your finances and work out how much you actually need and how much you have got coming in, then maybe, it is better to live a little leaner to enjoy that time than to live more comfortably and lose that time. And that is something that you have to decide, and it's a decision for you guys to make yourselves. But I'm just putting it out there as something to think about, because these things that happened this week really sort of made me stop and think, what am I doing? How do I want it to go? How is it going? And do they match? So for me, one of the things that I have done is I have taken on some freelance work for somebody else, which means that I now have a regular income coming in that I can rely on as a set amount each month, so that I can breathe a little easier, I can contribute to the household, and I feel like I am getting my balance back. Because before I was working from 9 in the morning until 9 at night, sometimes later, and feeling like I was getting nowhere. And now I have this freelance position that it's only a day out of my week that I use for it, and it gives me enough money just to let me be able to breathe and really sort of focus on what it is that I want to do with my business and how I want to move it forward. So for you, that might be an option. It might be that you are lending a hand to somebody else in a freelance capacity, so that you can get a set amount of money and the rest of the time you can focus on your business. And that is a really good way of being able to alleviate some of that stress and pressure of the finances to allow you to take back some of your time and spend it the way you want to. One of the things that people always say is nobody ever got to the end of their life and said, I wish I'd worked more. And I think it's really important for us as humans to look at what it is that we really want out of our lives. Who do we want to be spending our time with? How do we want to be spending our time? And what does that look like in reality? Like, we all wish No, maybe we don't. But, there's lots of us that wish that we could just not work and just sit by a pool all day and have barbecues with our friends and go out to lunch with our mates and do all of that kind of stuff and live that influencer kind of lifestyle that you see on Instagram. But the reality is that we probably don't really want that. That is not a reality for the majority of us, that we would actually want that. A lot of us would get bored after a week. You go on holiday, you live that kind of lifestyle, and then you can't wait to get back to normality. So there is a balance to be struck with this. You've just got to kind of internally look at what does that look like for you and how you want to live your life. So for me, I would love to be a quote unquote part-time worker and have a little bit more free time to myself. And one of the things that has sort of helped me look at this in a different way is the book Deeper Work. And I actually listened to this on the Headway app, so it gives you like a bullet pointed version of the book, very quick, sort of 15-minute chunk down of the book and its principles. And they were talking in that book about how nobody seems to do the deep work anymore. It spoke about Facebook having 3,000 employees all working from one open plan office space with no kind of, set up where they're assigned desks and things. So they're all just sort of floating around and it's all very surface. And that nobody is really doing the deep work. And that when you actually stop and take account and really sort of focus in on a project for a couple of hours, really focusing with no other distractions, how much more you can actually get done and how much more progress you can make than when you're kind of flitting from this topic to that topic. And I've spoken about that kind of multitasking and hopping from one thing to another and how it breaks your concentration. But deep work is talking about a solid sort of 2 hours on one project and getting it done and ignoring all other distractions. The phone is off, the notifications is off, you're off the internet if at all possible, to get this 2 hours done. And you'll get more productivity out of that 2 hours than you would if you were just going about your day. So that was a really good book to read this week, on top of the things that were happening that were making me think about it. The other thing it spoke about in Deep Work was the idea that when you finish work, that you are actually finished work, that you have a hard stop. And it spoke of somebody who had been interviewed for the book who said that he stops work at 5:30 and doesn't do any more work. And he is a very well established author and he has a family, and there was no work after 5:30 p.m. He just didn't do it. He spent his time with his family, he switched off to work, and it allowed his brain to solve the problems that he was struggling with. And I don't know if you've ever heard that before, but there are people out there that say, and I wish I was one of these people that could just pull all these quotes and names from my head of where I heard this stuff, but I'm not. I always struggled with that at uni. But they say that if you actually switch off and change to something completely different, so for example, leaving your work and going into the family realm, it gives your subconscious brain the time to sort of process things, and you will come out with solutions. So a lot of people will say they get their best ideas in the shower because they're singing along to their phone and they're washing their body and they're not thinking about work, and then bam, the answer will come to them. So it is really, really important to have that downtime as well as having that concentrated deep work time. And I thought that was something that I need to start incorporating by making those set times where I'm dealing with certain projects and that I am just on it. Everything else, all the other distractions are turned off and I am focused on that project. But then making sure that come dinner time, I am switching off and I am not going back onto the computer. I am not coming back into the office, and I'm doing something that I enjoy. So that was something that I took away from that book. So I will link the book in the show notes for you so you can get it. It is on the Headway app, which I will also link for you if you're interested in that. So what I think I would suggest is that you need to have a look at your calendar. You know, I'm a big fan of calendar blocking. So take a look at your calendar, and if it's a physical calendar, get your highlighters out. If it is online, then, you know, if it's in Gmail, you can do this as well with the colors, is color in everything that is work with one color, and color everything that is an appointment, you know, something in eye appointments, doctor's appointments, um, you know, the supermarket shop, the cleaning, whatever it is, that however you've set your diary up, because I actually have that in my diary, you know, cleaning between these hours, go shopping on this day, that kind of thing is all scheduled into my diary. Those are appointment type things. And then personal time, highlight that in a different color, like family time, personal time, TV time, whatever it is. Write it all down and color it in and see what your regular work week looks like. So maybe go back to last week, which, you know, should already be written out. Maybe write it out on a new, print a calendar off and put it on a new calendar, and then put in the time around it, what you spent your time doing. So fill it all in so that every bit of time is accounted for, and see where you're spending the most time. And if that is mainly on work, is that what you want to be doing at this point in your life? Whether that is this season, because maybe it's the wedding season and you are busy, so you expect it to be more work. Whether it's this period of your life, you know, at the age that you are, is this how you want to be spending your days? And have a look at it, and then look forward, because I know in our industry it's different in winter than it is in summer. So maybe if you are an online diary person, this is probably a little bit easier than maybe a physical person if you throw your diaries away. But have a look at a week in sort of October, which I know is difficult because last year wasn't a normal year for us, but look at how you're spending your time and maybe write out what it would normally look like in October. What kind of work and personal balance is going on there? And is it the opposite to what it is now? In which case, maybe you're okay with how it is because you're getting that time back. Or are you finding that you're still working more than you are playing in the autumn winter season as well? So it'd be a really good idea to have a look at your calendar and make some decisions based on what your calendar looks like at the moment and where you're spending your time. We need to really look at what is important to us. And it might be that work is just really important to you. I know I absolutely loved working in the industry with my couples. That was a pleasure and a joy to me. But it is very easy when that is the case for you to overextend yourself and put yourself into that work mode more often than you should, especially if you have got a family around you that want to spend time with you. So I would just be conscious of well, if you're enjoying it, it doesn't feel like work. And therefore, it is a lot easier to take the balance too far in the other direction because you are enjoying yourself. But you've got family that love you and miss you and want to spend time with you. So definitely sort of pull back a bit. Look at it with a bird's eye view. Where are you spending your time? Where do you want to be spending your time? What is most important to you at this stage in your life, at this season of your life? And try and make some adjustments where you can. Look at the opportunities around you. Is there a chance for you to do some freelance stuff? If you're in the early stages of your business, this would be a really good idea to do some freelance work that's maybe or even get in a job that is 8 hours a week, just so that you've got a basic wage coming into your home that gives you a little bit of relief from the stressings and strains of the income and outgoing flow of a business, which especially in the beginning can be very daunting and very scary, especially given the situation we are in. There is nothing wrong with, taking on a little part-time job or taking on some freelance work to ensure that you are comfortable and are more peaceful about what it is that you're doing. And it will give you that extra energy to put into your business, because you're not coming at it from a place of stress. You're coming at it from the place of enjoyment and anticipation of what could be. And talking of anticipation, I wanted to bring to you at the end of this the last thing that I have been looking at this week that has prompted me. So the first thing was the person who turned around and said that I had a good work ethic, which I translate to be you work too much, to this book. And this is a book that my mum bought me for Christmas one year, and I haven't really got round this is typical, haven't quite got round to looking at it until recently. So it's called A Book That Takes Its Time, and it is by Irene Smit and Astrid van der Hulst. Van der Hulst. Hope that I've got that right, and apologies to Astrid if I've absolutely butchered it. It's a flow book and it is beautiful. So the cover is embossed or debossed, whichever way you want to put it, and it's got these beautiful flower designs on it. And inside it has got lots of different activities and pull-out sheets. There's a section in here where it talks about enjoying the moments, and it has 5 or so sheets of these cards that have got pretty pictures on, and then a little blank space on the back where you can write down these beautiful moments, and you put them in a jar and pull them out when you just feel like remembering this. And it's got lots of stuff like that, lots of different note-taking points and little bits of information for you, and it's just a lovely book. And the reason that I haven't picked it up is because I don't have time to read. I am an Audible book listener. I listen to Audible books, and I've just downloaded the Headway app that gives you full books in 15 minutes. So it gives you the premise of the book, so you don't have to spend all that time listening to the real thing. So I've gone from, I'm a slow reader, so possibly taking me a long time to read a book. If I'm just doing a couple of chapters a day, it might take me a fortnight to read one book, to listening to a book, which I could do a lot quicker when I was in the car a lot, because I'd listen in the car. So, a 6-hour book, I would listen at 1.5 speed. So that would bring down the hours, and I would get that done quite easily in the car as well, to now downloading the Headway app where it's 15 minutes for a book. And I just stopped and thought, why the rushing? Why the rushing? And it really made me think. So I decided to stop and have a look at this book and just start reading it and taking on board what it's saying. And I wanted to share something from it with you. And this is from the sort of second section, just after the beautiful moments. And it says, Celebrate the Wait. And it's by Lisette Thuft. I am going to have butchered that as well. So it says, we want to see a movie and ta-da, we download it. We're craving strawberries, they're available even in winter. We want to see our friends across the world, Skype. We hardly have any time to savour anticipation anymore. But there is a section here that I wanted to read to you guys, and it's called Instant Gratification. Oh, I feel like we're doing story time. Instant gratification. Nowadays, it's all about instant gratification. Everyone is quick to tell you that you no longer have to wait for fun things. You can get everything you want right now. It's no longer only natural to save money for a long time to be able to buy a luxury item. If you can't afford it, just use credit. Why wait? As a child, I had to nag for years before I finally got a guitar from my parents, and that was quite normal. When I became a mother and my teenage son decided he wanted to learn to play the guitar, he scored a fine instrument online in just one afternoon. Part of it is that technology is at our beck and call, serving us faster and faster. Waiting for a letter just can't compete with all those smartphones, iPads full of emails, text messages, and chat apps. If people have to wait, no matter how briefly, they get out their smartphone. Is that you? Has anything come in? Research shows that some people even check their phones often during sex. Instant gratification has invaded all areas of our life. That shook me. In an interview, comedian Louis C.K. did a bit that's known today as everything's amazing and nobody's happy. He talked about how impatient we've become as the result of technology. Like, in my lifetime, changes in the world have been incredible, he said. When I was a kid, we had a rotary phone. We had a phone that you had to stand next to and you had to dial it. You actually would hate people with zeros in their numbers. You'd be like, this guy has 2 zeros. Screw that guy. He went on to describe that once on a plane in the early days of in-flight Wi-Fi, there was an announcement that high-speed internet was available for passengers. That's the newest thing I'd known to exist, he said. And I'm sitting on the plane and they go, open up your laptop, you can go on the internet. And it's fast. And I'm watching YouTube clips. It was amazing. I'm in an aeroplane. And then it breaks down and they apologise. The internet's not working. The guy next to me starts cursing, like how quickly the world owes him something that he only knew existed 10 seconds ago. Now, no matter how quickly things are improving our lives, we are almost instantly disappointed that they're not happening faster. And that, guys, is what I want to leave you on, because for me, that really made me stop, because I watch all my YouTube videos on 1.5, 175 or 2 times speed. I am always watching everything so quickly because there's not enough time to take it all in. And I think we really need to stop and think about what it is that we truly want in our lives, because that's what we need to make time for. There's a lot of stuff that we're consuming, a lot of stuff that is coming into our lives, taking over. And we're just wanting to get to things faster and faster so that we can get on and get it done and move on and do the next thing. And I think we need to stop and smell the roses a little more. So if you are interested in this book, I will try and link it below if I can find it. I am absolutely loving it. I am taking some time every day if I can, just to go through this book and take my time with it. And I hope you will do something similar. Until next week, guys, bye for now.